I'm Lawrence Chard. Welcome to our first episode of How to Spot a Fake. We're going to be looking at an American seated Liberty silver dollar. As you can see, I've got two of them already laid out side by side. There's an 1844 and an 1871. And I guess you eagle-eyed viewers are looking at them and thinking, I can tell which one it is. And our producer actually thinks that you'll pick the one on the left because you'll see the rim and it looks awful. And I agree, it does look awful, and it's a really great example of a bad coin. But are you sure? Some other people might be thinking that 1871 looks pretty bad. But what we usually do when we're handling a coin for the first time is we actually turn it over. So we're going to turn it over that way and see what happens. And that's not quite aligned correctly now, is it? It's not. It should turn and be a little bit more level, and it was like that. So now we're going to turn this one, and hey, that's even worse. That's completely upside down. So that's wrong. And if you know anything about this series of American silver dollars, and most American coins, the Americans use what is often called coin alignment, and most other countries nowadays use what's called medal alignment, and it depends which way the obverse and reverse are compared with each other, and which way you actually turn or spin them to get them to look at the other side. And as you can see, the 1871 ends up being upside down when you turn it the normal way for coin alignment, whereas the 1841 was kind of nearly right, but even so, not quite right. I'm guessing that most of you have already worked out that these are actually both fakes, which is the case. It wasn't a kind of trick question, we just happen to have two here to look at. And you've got to be careful when you're comparing coins to see if it's genuine or fake, to make sure that you're comparing them with a genuine specimen to start with. I'm going to take 1844 away, and we're going to have a look. Now unfortunately we don't have a genuine seated Liberty silver dollar in stock at the moment. We've got a whole selection of Morgans and piece dollars, so I picked out a Morgan dollar. They're the same specifications and similar things apply to them. We're British coin dealers rather than American coin dealers, so we don't expect to have things like seated Liberty dollars in stock all the time. Most American dealers probably have got one. And if we look at these, hopefully you can see that the 1889, the Morgan dollar, looks, even though it's worn, looks quite nice and sharp, and all the details there. I'll flip this over as well, and flipping it the same way, you can see that when we've turned it over, the reverse is perfectly aligned. That in itself tells us something about the coin, and if we were just looking at those two coins, that would give you a clue that the alignment was less than perfect. Thinking about how this affects the value of a coin, if either of our two seated Liberty dollars were genuine, and bearing in mind that they're not in great condition, there's quite a lot of wear on them, they'd still be worth maybe $300 each or somewhere around there. And interesting, while we're talking about the wear, a lot of what looks like wear on them probably isn't. They've either been copied from worn original coins, or they've been kind of dumbed down, or perhaps given some artificial wear, because they both look quite weak. And when you compare with the Morgan, which has got a lot of wear on it, the features on the Morgan are still quite sharp. Okay, we've popped a macro filter lens on so that we can show you a real nice close-up of this. And we started on the 1844, and we've already mentioned that the rim of this is basically appalling. If we look round here, there's basically a kind of ridge that looks like a cut or a gap, and it actually goes all the way around the coin. And it's not something that I can ever remember seeing on a genuine coin. It's rather as if the coin's been made in two halves and joined together, and this is the join line. And another feature there is these teeth on the coin. They don't quite join onto the actual rim of the coin. There's a little bit of a gap, and they look more like beads rather than teeth. They're actually disconnected. I wonder if we can show you that compared with the Morgan dollar. I think we could try it. Let's just see what happens if we slide those together. Yeah, I think that gives us an idea. And you can see, even though the Morgan's more worn, and it's actually a different design of dollar. There's no gap between the rim and the teeth there. Get that out of the way. And can I turn this round smoothly enough? And I think you can see there that the rim just looks awful. It's got lines all the way around it. And there's a feature there that the teeth are, it's had its teeth whitened here, and they're quite dark there. I don't know what has actually caused that strange line or gap. It could just be discoloration on the coin, but there's a similar thing again. There's a whole group of teeth in the border there that are a completely different colour, and they're mushed up, and there's a strange effect there on that line. The edge has been kind of mashed or mushed up a little bit, and that goes all the way around. I don't know what's caused it. So what else is bad about this coin? Let's get this bit in the middle, and here we are. We've got some little black spots all over it, and these seem to be pit marks or blowholes in it, as if there was perhaps some air between the mould, because I presume this coin has been cast rather than struck. Why they're dark, I don't know. It may be differential oxidization between the base metal, and most of this coin is iron, and compared with the rest of the coin, which seems to have an extremely thin silver plating on it. So there you go, a pretty bad coin. Let's have a look at the 1871, and you can see the rim here is quite a bit better than the other one. It hasn't got that awful line around it, but the border teeth still seem to be disconnected a little bit from the rim. There's a line, what looks like a scratch line. Maybe it's a flaw, presumably a scratch on the mould, or if it was struck, then a die. And that's on the shield just near the Liberty. And that line goes down here. It shouldn't be there. And it's not a scratch on the coin, because that line appears to be slightly raised. And if that's raised, that means that it was actually cut or engraved into the mould or the die. It certainly isn't a scratch that's appeared afterwards. There are a few other marks on this coin like that, but that's a really, really bad and obvious one. So back with the obverse of the 1871 here, and starting out with the date. There's a little feature near the date, and there's a small raised line just going near the top left of the 1 in the date. That shouldn't be there, and it wouldn't be there on a normal coin. There's also a few smaller lines and features like that on the rest of the coin in different places. But what else we can notice here is that the whole of the field, that's the flat part of the coin, and to some extent the raised part of the design, is not smooth. The whole surface is like a pattern of tiny little grains and maybe pimples, a little bit like a very fine orange peel effect. And even though that appears to be small detail, because it's over the whole lot of the coin, it's an indication that we should look more closely at that. But let's turn this over, because the reverse is even more interesting. What we've got on the reverse is we've got some striation lines. They look like scratch lines, and those striations, there's a whole lot of them. They run roughly at an angle like that across the coin. There's just a whole heap of them, and what it looks like is that somebody's taken the die, or possibly the mould, and actually cleaned it or filed it or scoured it with some wire wool, leaving all these lines like this, looking as if it's been cleaned very harshly. And I can see that those lines are not scratches on the coin. If there were scratches on the coin, they would almost certainly continue up onto some of the design, and they'd cut across the lettering, or they'd cut onto the beak. There's a little raised line there which is going to the beak. Again, that shouldn't be there, it's a different feature. You can occasionally see striations like this on genuine coins where the die has been polished, and polished slightly crudely and not given its final polish. But it's pretty rare to find that on a genuine coin. We've also got some black spots there, and again they look like little blowholes or air holes. Again, presumably air has got between the mould and the coin. One noticeable feature on this particular coin that you don't often see even on fakes is it's got some kind of crease in it, and just round here it looks like it's a little bit thicker in a place, and it's not even parallel. It spreads out over this bit of the coin, and some of it's hard to describe. It looks rather as if you've tried ironing a shirt and you've actually had a bit of a crease in it when you've ironed it. So when you've finished and done the job, you can still see the signs of the crease there. There's perhaps a little bit of extra metal there, or if it was cast, the metal, the mould wasn't quite right and has bulged out, so it's a little bit thicker. But whatever it is, it's a really weird feature, and it's something we don't see often, and you certainly would be extremely surprised if you saw that on a genuine coin. So that helps to conclude, yep, this is a fake. Yeah, if we look at the lettering there, the first two letters of America look very weak and washed out, whereas the rest of the letters are a lot stronger. You shouldn't get that variability. You can get weak strikes on genuine coins, but this just doesn't look right, and I'd be extremely surprised to see that on the genuine article. It's also not because of wear, it's just that the coin's been struck very weakly or cast very weakly in the first place. So, enough features. I think we can also see the edge again there is not good, but I think we found enough features and problems on this coin to actually make it easy to tell that it's not right. So our conclusion is it's a fairly obvious fake. What we've got in shot now is the Seated Liberty down here, and we've got the Morgan dollar here, and what we can see, I've got the word America in shot on both, and we can see on the Morgan, the coin's a little bit worn, but that lettering is otherwise very sharp. The seated liberty has not got as much apparent wear on the coin, but just look at that lettering on America. It just doesn't look right, and the M is almost disappearing. I've got the A slightly out of shot. So that simple comparison, even though they're not otherwise identical coins, should help to spell out to somebody, should ring a bell that, hey, there's something wrong here. Let's have a closer look. One other check we do on most coins is to actually weigh them. So now we're going to do a weight check. And you don't need an expensive scale. We're actually using a fairly cheap kitchen scale at the moment. And first thing we're going to do is put on an American silver dollar, a genuine one. It should weigh 26.73 grams and it's going to be about a gram underweight, I guess, and it's 25 grams. I said these were cheap scales, they're not even 2.1 of a gram, but that's genuine. And here's one of our seated liberties, and that's 17 grams. So even just on a fairly cheap kitchen scale, you can instantly tell that's a bad coin. Let's try the other seated liberty, and 19 grams. So even the two fakes are 10% out between them. That's a fairly quick, easy, cheap and conclusive test. Next thing, we're going to try listening to this coin. We sometimes call it a ringtone test. Here we go. And what we're going to do, pick one of the coins up and we're going to ring it. Sound okay? Sound not. Do we know? Let's try the other coin. How does that sound? Did one sound better? Can you work out which is genuine and which is fake? I know that we're not looking at two identical coin designs here for a simple reason. Shall we give them another ring, let you have another try? You got it? Was it easy? Did you work it out? If you're not sure, the first coin in both cases was a genuine one. It happens to be a Morgan silver dollar. The second coin is a fake. It's undoubtedly a Chinese fake, and that's supposed to be a seated Liberty dollar. And the first coin just sounds good and normal, a nice clear ring to it. The second coin sounded tinny and cheap. You do have to sometimes be slightly careful what you put them on, because if you put them on say a hollow piece of furniture, perhaps a piano lid, sometimes the glass top of a table, you're often hearing the medium that you're ringing it on. As it happens, this is a speaker box and it's acoustically fairly dead, so we're hearing more of the coin than we are the box. Nice simple test. There you go. Thank you for watching our video. We hope you found it interesting and informative. If you liked it and you want to see more videos, please hit the subscribe button, and you can also leave comments for us below.